All right, Craig, so tell us, what are we looking at right now?
So we're looking at one of the new missions in the Pathogen campaign. After the crew of the Endeavor destroyed the Katanga, there's still, xenomorph activity on the planet of 895. So they're going down and investigating kind of strange occurrences outside of the normal place where they, kind of played around the Pala Station area in the base game. And they've discovered a secret set of engineer ruins there, where there's a lot of strange xenomorph activity. And going through here, they're realizing that a lot of the area is actually closed off, is sealed away by engineer tech and biomech tech. So you kind of see it here, where we're kind of trying to move through and really kind of explore what is going on here. So breaking down some of these seals. And of course, in doing this, you're going to be calling a whole lot of the enemies to you.
Naturally.
You're seeing some of the new enemies here. So it's not just xenomorphs. You're exploring this area and you realize that they're pathogen infected, mutated enemies here as well that you have to keep safe from.
And they are relentless too.
They will not stop.
What was behind that big locked area?
Well, you got to survive this fight.
Oh,
to see what's
okay,
behind the area.
The creative team, behind, designing these. I feel like they had a field day because these are some really interesting designs for these xenomorphs.
It is. It's been fantastic to be able to work in the universe and to play around with existing things, but then to push it a little farther. We'll be looking at the xenomorph, the pathogen brute in a little bit. What we were able to do there, kind of, take the xenomorphs, take what Prometheus and Covenant brought to the universe in terms of new enemies, and kind of seeing how horrific we can end up making them has been something that the art team has really, really enjoyed doing. Going through the missions, you're going to be running into xenomorphs, you're going to be running into pathogen. Guess what? They don't like each other either, so you'll get to see them fighting, but in the end, if there's a Colonial Marine around, their attention is going to be paid to you.
So there's a timer. What does this timer indicate?
So the timer indicates how long it's going to be until that laser cutter gets through the biomech seal, and you'll be able to move away from this area and hopefully survive long enough so you can do that.
Okay. So it's not necessarily that you can clear this. It's more so this is just survival right
yes.
now. Yes.
Yeah. Co-op survival shooter. There are going to be hordes coming at you constantly. The game is looking at how you play, what you're doing, sending enemies at you, and it's trying to get to the end and trying to get your objective taken care of as a Colonial Marine. That's key. So another map, another area within the Pathogen expansion campaign. New environmental hazards. Right now we're in one of the maze-like areas. Deeper down you find out that there's a pathogen hive. Where are all these pathogen xenomorphs, these mutated xenomorphs coming from? And they've started building this terrible, horrific hive. A lot of environmental hazards down here. The path changes when you go through it each time you play, so a lot of replayability to this campaign. But really being able to take kind of that Giger-esque hive that was in Aliens in the films and see what that would be like if we ended up exposing it to pathogen, the mutagen, the black goo.
So the path changes each and every time. Is it randomized, or is it just, or is there a certain set amount of paths that are pre-made?
So within, we can't, reveal all of the secrets.
Of course.
But,
no, yeah.
But yeah, it changes up each time you go through these certain areas that are really, really maze-like. And so you're going to have to coordinate as a team to be able to find your way through these areas and hold off the hordes that are coming at you.
Okay.
And of course, be careful of all the, pathogen mutated spore pods around each corner. So deeper into the pathogen hive, communications becomes more difficult. You have to set up relays. Setting up relays calls enemies to you, gets enemies really riled up. So this is an instance where you're kind of getting deeper, trying to figure out where to go, trying to communicate back to the drop ship to see what area you should go to, and then a huge fight happens. bunch of new pathogens show up in this clip. We should be able to get some pretty good looks at the pathogen brute here. So pathogen brute, like we talked about earlier, what is it like when xenomorphs get exposed to the mutagen, the black goo? What happens to them? And you can kind of see how corrupted they are. The art team had a fantastic time. All of the different things, looking at the enemies in Prometheus, Covenant, looking at Geiger reference, looking at comic book reference, all the stuff to kind of come up with how horrific can we make these pathogen xenomorphs.
They did an amazing job.
Yeah, and that's just one of the new enemies that shows up in the campaign.
Were those spores on the brute's like arms or
like spores, blisters, corruption,
pimples,
everything? You don't really want to get that close to the brute's arms.
Find out. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely an enemy that when he shows up, your team's going to want to really pay attention to his existence, or else you're not going to be around for long.
Well, this team that's playing this. They're doing a great job working together. I'm assuming it's probably you and your fire team. I'm assuming
it is
you.
It is not me. It is not me. I think in this fight I might not be doing this well. No, this is some of our designers at Cold Iron Studios playing through.
Thanks to Craig for giving us the lowdown on the new DLC release for Aliens Fireteam Elite. Now the game's out right now, and you can catch the DLC on August 30th.